From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the evening news blast for May 6, 2025. This is part three of a four-part story about folks from the transgender community and the issues they are facing caused by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's lack of enforcement of the Equal Access Rule. A nationwide federal push to ease trans identity. Bea Gonzalez, a transgender man, was kicked out of a suburban St. Louis domestic violence shelter on a chilly night in November 2021, along with his three children, then 2, 5, and 7. The family was just settling into a room after filling out paperwork at Bridgeway Behavioral Health Women's Center when Gonzalez was told they had to go because he disclosed he was a transgender man. It wasn't about going back into the closet, the 33-year-old said, of his insistence on telling the truth, even after it was suggested he keep his trans identity secret. He needed a domestic violence shelter, he said, for greater security for the children, and because he feared for his safety as a trans man in a men's shelter, some of which don't accept children anyway. The city had no domestic violence shelters for men, and his attorney, Kalila Jackson, in the St. Louis metropolitan area, there was no place for him to go. There were no other options. The family was sent to a motel, but when they arrived, they discovered it hadn't been paid for, and the organization that sent them there was closed. So I was stranded, said Gonzalez, who did not have a car. I had to call a friend who was able to let us stay for the night. Jackson said Bridgeway received HUD funding and that its policy of barring transgender men was a violation of the Equal Access Rule and straight-up sex discrimination. Jackson said the message the shelter sent was this: "You're biologically a girl. You should dress as a girl. Since you say that you are a man, we are not going to accept you here." HUD didn't answer or address Gonzalez's or Webster's complaints when the AP sought comment on their cases. HUD investigated Gonzalez's complaint for 2.5 years until it suddenly notified him in March the agency was dropping it without a finding. The company operating the shelter, Preferred Family Healthcare, did not respond to the AP's request for comment. After 455 days of being shuttled between 6 shelters in 6 cities in 2 states, Missouri and Illinois, Gonzalez ultimately found stable housing where his children live with him part-time. He sees what happened as part of what he describes as a nationwide federal push to erase trans identity. Advocates are concerned by HUD's shift, noting high rates of discrimination and homelessness among people who are LGBTQ+. That's our news blast for this hour. We'll be back this evening, make that tomorrow morning, with part 4 of this 4-part story. If you are 18 or older, live in Pennsylvania, and are part of the LGBTQ+ community, please visit the Pennsylvania Equality Project website at paequality.com and complete their 2025 housing survey. Up next, we have the local weather forecast for the Meadville area here on PEP Radio.